everybody, it's Heather from Handcrafted by Hev. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this card. It's quite an easy card to make, but it looks super effective. I don't know if you can see, it has the Mr. and Mrs. embossed in gold in the centre, and the wreath around it is 3D'd, and there's some pearl embellishments just to finish the card off. The collection I'm going to be using to make the card is the latest collection from Stamps By Me. The total collection is called Beautiful Inside and Out and is made up of 4 stamp and die sets. The first one is the Beautiful Inside and Out that gave the collection its name, and as you can see it's 2 beautiful brides' heads, a large one and a slightly smaller one, and there are some sentiments in there. There is I love you mum, beautiful inside and out, with get well, happy birthday and congrats. And coordinating with the stamps is the die set, and this cuts out the smaller of the 2 brides' heads images, as well as one of the smaller flowers, and then there's the word congrats with the coordinating outline, so you can mat and layer your sentiment. The next set from the collection is a day to remember, and it's the beautiful wedding cake. So it's a beautiful 4-tier cake with the same floral embellishments as in the bride's hair, and then you also get the beautiful corner flourish also, and there's loads of sentiments in this one. We have happily ever after, congrats, age is just a number, well done, happy birthday, Mr. and Mrs, let's celebrate, so happy for you, save the date, thank you, 2 become 1, a day to remember, to a gorgeous couple, and have your cake and eat it, which I really like. And again with that set you get the coordinating die, and this one cuts out the large cake, again one of the smaller individual flowers, and also a die for the corner flourish as well. And all the dies leave a lovely 1mm border around the images. The next set from this collection is called Endless Love, and it's all sentiments, but they are beautiful. You've got the really large endless love there, amazing you, pretty amazing again but in a larger font, amazing you, well done, think of you, love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, and wishes all things, love never fails. We have a smaller endless love, and then finally on this set we have anyone can make promises but very few people can keep them forever, happy anniversary. I think that's a really nice one. And again with this set you have the coordinating dies, and they cut out the 3 largest sentiments. So you've got the large endless love, the actual words themselves with the outline, amazing you, again the words with the outline, and then finally pretty amazing, and again you've got the words with the outline so you can mat and layer them up. And finally, and this is the one I'm going to be using today, we have the You and Me set, and it's a beautiful floral wreath. Again the flowers all coordinate throughout the whole collection, and you have a few sentiments in here also. You have you and me, Mr. and Mrs, happy ever after, invitation, and love you. And the dies for this one, you get the large wreath and 2 of the smaller flowers, as well as the ampersand sign. So to start the card, I've already pre-prepared my cardstock. I have a card blank which is just over 6 inches, a square card, and then I've got mat and layers in craft card and the cream to coordinate, and then the cream to do my die cutting. So I'm going to make a start by die cutting the wreath out first. I'll just move these out of my way. I'm going to cut it just off camera, I'm afraid, because it's easier than moving my die cutting machine. I'm using a manual one for this, so I'm just going to die cut it out of this smallest piece of card, which is 5.5 inches by 5.5 inches. I'll just run that through my machine. Right, here we go. Oh, it's all fallen straight out of the die immediately. Just shows you how well these dies cut. And I want to stamp the flower, the wreath part of the stamp onto the die cut. So to do that, I'll just bring in my Eureka. Very well used, my Eureka. And I'm just going to put the die cut back together inside my Eureka, just to make it a little bit easier to stamp the image onto. Put the centerpiece back in. It just helps to hold it in place for stamping. And I'll hold the outside of the cardstock in place with my magnets. I'm just going to give it a quick dust with my anti-static bag, just to try and stop any stray bits of embossing powder sticking where I don't want them. And then get my stamp off the backing sheet. I have used it quite a lot, this stamp, so it's not pristine anymore, I must admit. And then I'm going to just try and line it up. Just try and work out which way I've done it. Oh yes, it's there. That goes there. Line it up onto the die cut, and it's difficult to see on camera because my stamp is so dirty and well used, but there is a 1mm border around the stamped image and on the die cut, so you just place it so you can see a relatively equal border all the way around. Pick up the stamp with the door, and I'm going to use the Fab embossing ink pad from Stamps By Me. The Fab stands for Fine Art Bonding. I'll just ink up my stamp. I really like this ink pad because it's got the stickiness that you need for your embossing powder, but it's not that sticky that it's difficult to clean up off of your Eureka, which I find with some other brands. I'll just give it a little press. That looks okay, but I'm going to do it again just to make sure that I've not missed any bits, because obviously with it being clear it's more difficult to see that you've got an exact complete image. And because we're in the Eureka and everything's stuck down, you know you're quite safe to ink it up again. That looks okay. I can see that it's actually quite shiny and wet because I've used my ink pad is quite juicy. I'll just move that to one side. Take a plain piece of cardstock, it's just copy paper, just to catch my embossing powder. Sprinkle it straight on. I'll just use a pokey tool to pick it up. Give it a little tap, get off the excess. That looks lovely. Just clear this away before we make a huge mess. I have been known to spill it everywhere. There we go. That's not too bad for me. Put my lid back on. And then I'm just going to heat this up before I knock the powder off it. And as Tony would say, I'm going to get my gun nice and hot so that I don't warp my card. It should be warm enough now. I'm just going to hold my card in place with my poke tool so I don't burn my fingers. And as soon as I see the embossing powder start to melt, I'm moving the gun onto the next area. can almost see it bubbling. The trick is not to hold it on too long because you will burn your embossing powder and get more of a dull, flatter result. There you go, I think I've been all the way around now. Okay, that's lovely. I'll just put that to one side for a moment while I do the next step, which is, I need to bring back in my Eureka. I don't need these at the moment, so I'll take those off. Just clean this stamp, take it off and put it back on my backing sheet. I'll line it up properly later and get the next stamp that I need to use. Helps if you put it on the right side, doesn't it? There we go, I can see where it needs to go now. I've got it the right way around. And I'm going to use the sentiment Mr. and Mrs. but I want that to be on the craft card underneath my embossed image. So if I bring my embossed image back in, which I've already die cut, just hold it in place and then find where I can fit my sentiment in. If I take the magnets off, I can move it around and just find exactly where I can get this sentiment to fit exactly in the centre of my die cut element. That's not looking too bad. So if I close my door to pick up my stamp, I can then remove that because I don't need it down there, and get my anti-static bag again. I'm only doing the middle of the card, so I don't need to anti-static the whole thing. And again, using my Fab embossing ink, ink up my stamp, stamp it down. I can see that's got it all, but because it's embossing ink I will just do it once more just to be doubly sure. Light press, and again bring in my piece of copper paper, my embossing powder, sprinkle it over the sentiment, tap off the excess, get this back in the pot before we have an accident. I'm finished with my Eureka for now, so I'll just move that out of the way. I'll clean that stamp at the end and put it away properly. And just warm up my heat tool again, which will not take long because it's still quite warm, and just heat up this sentiment. Perfect. So now it's just a case of putting the card all together right now all the elements are made. So I've got my card blank and my first mat. You can use any kind of tape that you like. I just like using my tape gun for speed. I'm just placing it down and lining it up on three sides so I know I've got it central, and then place it down. And that's my first mat. My second one. Oops. My tape got a bit carried away there, and again I'm lining it up on three sides. My first craft card mat was 6 by 6. This one is 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. And this one with the sentiment on is 5 1/2 by 5 1/2. Oops, that's the end of my tape. Luckily I had just enough to finish off that piece of card. And again, lining it up on three sides before pressing it down to make sure it's well and truly stuck. Now ahead of time, as Tony would say, I pre-cut and embossed another of the wreaths. purely and simply because I've run out of my large foam pads, so I've had to use rather a lot of little ones, and I didn't think you'd want to watch me putting all those on the video. So I've already taken the backing off them, so it's ready just to stick down. So just find where my sentiment fits in the centre and press that down, and there we go, we're almost done. The final stage is just to add some pearls, which, here we go, we're just hiding. And I just went round and randomly placed little groups of 2 or 3 pearls here and there, just to give it a little bit more dimension, and so it was a little bit less plain. Sorry, that's my phone giving me notifications. I'll remember to put it onto silent next time, I think. There we go. This just adds a little bit of a finishing touch to the card. I think I'll just put one more group on the outside and then put a couple on the inside of the wreath. I think I'll have another one down here and then just put some random ones inside, not too many. Last one. There we go, I think that's enough. And there you go, a relatively quick, simple but super effective card to send to someone on their wedding day. I hope you enjoyed that. I will put links down below the video to all the necessary products and Tony's website so that you can go and have a look at all the things that are available there. Thanks ever so much for watching. See you again soon. Bye.